Does net worth really matter? A lot of people think it does. I'm not so sure. So remember, I am always pushing the limits and trying to be a little bit of a nonconformist when it comes to finance. So let's explore. What is net worth, first and foremost? If you don't know, it's okay. A lot of people throw that term around and they're not really sure what it means either. So you're not stupid. You're not dumb if you don't know what net worth is. Let's just learn together what it is right now. So, net worth is basically you take all your assets, you minus liabilities, and that's your net worth, what's left over. Okay, what's an asset? Assets are investments, cash accounts, the selling price of your home, business, if your business is worth something, if you have other kinds of accounts that are worth something, those all go into the assets. So you basically add up all of your assets or all of your investments, cash, home value, all those things up, business value, all those go in there. Now, minus liabilities. Liabilities are debt, essentially. So, what your mortgage is. So, if your house could be sold for 500,000, you owe 200,000. The 200,000 goes in the liabilities column. If you have a business loan on your business, that would come off of your assets of the business to the liability side of things. If you have student loan, that goes in liability. Credit card debt, that one gets a little tricky because people aren't really sure what's considered credit card debt. I always say if you pay off your credit card every month, you don't have to include that in the liabilities. If you have $20,000 of debt that you are not planning on paying off this month or even the next couple of months, that's got to go in liabilities. It's long-term debt, right? So basically, you take assets minus liabilities, and that's your net worth. Okay, so why do we look at net worth? Net worth is there's some good things with net worth, right? It kind of shows you where you are. So it's a metric, right? So if you have $1 million of assets, let's say you've got your house that's worth 700,000, you've got some investment accounts that are 250,000, and you've got some cash and that's 50,000. That's $1 million of assets. And let's say you only have your mortgage as your liability that you have. Well, let's say that's 200,000 or 300,000. Let's say 300,000, right? So you have a million minus 300,000, 700,000 net worth. You're doing really well, right? Now, when you look at net worth, you can use it as a metrics to go, how are we doing? Are we losing net worth? Or are we gaining net worth? So a lot of people will run it every single year and say, how are we doing to show progress? A lot of financial advisors will use it to show progress to their clients of how we're doing as an overall planning strategy. And that's not a bad thing to take a look at. Another thing that people like is it makes them feel better, right? We always feel like we're doing something wrong when it comes to our finances. And having a $700,000 net worth makes us feel better, makes us understand that we're actually doing some good in the world. There's nothing wrong with feeling better about our finances. Finances are very depressing for a lot of people. If it can put a smile on your face, great, that's wonderful. The other thing is, it's kind of a nice thing to do every year to check in on where things are, right? So a lot of times we let the year go by and we haven't looked at our 401k for a long time. We haven't thought about any kind of like investment that we've made in our business or, the growth of our house or any of that stuff. And so by building out the assets minus liabilities, it makes us actually look at all of our accounts and go, last year I had 50,000 in cash and this year I only have 20,000. What did I spend that money on and how do I rebuild that, right? If 50,000 is what you need for an emergency fund. So those are kind of the pros. The cons of net worth are, what does it really mean, right? There's a lot of estimations that are happening there. So I said, let's say your house is worth 700,000. What does that mean? That means that if I put in the market, somebody's going to come along and purchase it for 700,000. I would love to say that that's reality. It's not, right? Just because your friend down the street sold for 700,000 does not mean your house is going to sell for 700,000. It could be more, it could be less. It's an approximation. Same with business valuations. Most of the time, business owners are not going out there getting business evaluations all over the place. They're expensive and they're a pain in the butt, to be honest, to get. You don't just get them a lot of times. So we're approximating how much we think it would be 10 times revenue or whatever thing that they've heard of. Does that mean that that's what their business is worth? Not necessarily. It's worth what somebody is willing to buy it for. That's the honest truth. So when you have assets that are approximations like our homes or our businesses, those can change dramatically without us doing anything. Just time passes, things change, all that stuff happens. So sometimes net worth is not really accurate, right? So that's one con against it. The other thing is that it kind of is sometimes can be rich on paper and not necessarily rich in your pocketbook. So I was listening to a podcast with Alex Hormozy. I don't know if a lot of you know him. He does books and he's an author and he helps people in the business space. And he was saying he owned 6 gyms, and those 6 gyms were great. They were doing fine. He was bringing no money home from them. Everything was just going back into the business and he could not figure out how to bring any money home. So he had a great net worth statement. He looked fantastic on paper, rich on paper, poor in pocketbook, right? That is not necessarily what we want. We want to be able to feel and be able to save and be able to bring some money home. And so net worth, while you might look really impressive on paper, doesn't really actually translate to how you feel in your everyday life. Are you able to take those trips you want? Are you able to save? Are you able to pay for kids' colleges? Are you able to, what are you able to do with it if it's all just on paper and nothing's in your hand, right? So that's another thing that happens with net worth is we almost feel worse about ourselves. As much as seeing a $2 million net worth makes us feel good on paper, we sit there and go, what's wrong with us? Why don't I have $2 million that I can spend then? And that can be the reverse effect of what we want. So basically, when you're looking at your net worth, you kind of have to look at it tongue in cheek. I think looking at it as a metric is fine. But when you hear your friend say, I have $500,000 net worth, just kind of nod and go, that's wonderful, because you don't really know what makes that up. You don't know if that makes her successful with her finances or not. You just don't know. And so net worth is what you put into it, what you understand of it, and also knowing that it's not a firm figure, right? So you just want to make sure that when you're taking a look at your net worth, you are not taking your worth as a person or somebody doing stuff on a financial level and completely tie it to net worth, because net worth is just an approximate number and something to look at, but nothing to basically brag about, essentially. So if you need help trying to figure out your net worth and how to read your net worth so that you're actually able to take maybe that big number on paper and make it something that you is tangible that you can actually utilize in your everyday life. We do that all the time here at One Vision Retirement. Give us a call. You can schedule a call. There's a link in the notes below to schedule a call just to kind of get to know us, and we can see if we can help you. One Vision Retirement, your retirement in 2020 vision.